Hello, Facebook. This is April and Stephen on a Sunday, and we're here to talk about. What are we here to talk about? Let's look at the agenda, and we're talking about finding people who live stream. Hello, April.
Hello, Stephen.
Right. Okay. And hello to Cheryl if you're watching live. And if anybody is watching live, could you do us one favour? Could you just check out my sound and say whether you can hear me properly or not before we start the show for real?
Specifically, okay. If there's any echoing going on.
Yeah, we're in search for an echo. If you can hear me clearly, then can you just say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good the sound is, and
pixelated. But how's the audio?
How about the sound, Cheryl? I'm not too worried about being pixelated. No echo. Right. So there is no echo.
Only I hear it, but that's okay.
What is there? Is there a delay on the echo?
No, it's manageable. As long as they can hear us okay, I'll get through. I'm a champion like that.
Oh yes, yeah. Now, if anybody wants to join us, and Roy's confirming, I'm not hearing one, but April is, and such is the technology that we've very few ways to actually change things up. I've lowered the resolution on my camera, which is why I'm pixelated. I don't mind that as long as my voice is coming through loud and clear. Now, we picked ourselves a topic, and I suppose we best go for it, which is finding people who live stream. How do you find people who live stream?
Moi,
Oui.
I stalk people's pages. I find people in the BeLivers group.
Yep.
I recently started looking up the hashtag BeLiveTV. Okay. And I think I remember Tina Sheng talking about that when Jeff Adams was doing his, did he call it a meetup? I don't remember, but they were talking about putting that hashtag, attaching that hashtag to your live stream so that people can go back and find it. And I think that would be the best hashtag to use in the BeLive community.
Oh yeah. I mean, to hashtag it with BeLivers or BeLive.tv, is a way of getting found after the event, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, how do you actually find people to interview or to chat with?
Oh, they just they enter my life when they're supposed to. I don't know. There's the Never Settle show with Mario Armstrong. I kind of have my sights set on the people there because I think there's a lot of gold in them thar hills that people who are going through that experience right now, either as a participant or as a guest on the show, I'd like to interview them for some insight into that experience, since Mario is doing something that's not yet been done, having a live studio audience and a live stream audience simultaneously.
Well, yeah, and that's something that I've been watching too from afar, as to see where it actually goes. Because it's not something, Never Settle is something that hasn't crossed the Atlantic yet. So,
yeah,
we don't know much about it. Can you explain a little bit about it?
Mario Armstrong, he is a TV personality on the Today Show. He is a contributor to that show. And he's done a lot of guest appearances because he's a digital media expert on, all kinds of stuff. He goes on and talks about gadgets and live streaming, and he and his wife had this vision to put this together where live live audience meets live streaming audience, and it's bringing guests on who, you know, clearly the Never Settle show is about never settling. And so it's about sharing inspirational stories with people, and having the live stream audience be a part of creating the show. Oftentimes behind the scenes, and then also sometimes while it's happening.
So the show itself is unpredictable.
Yeah. Because even up until the very first show took place last Wednesday on the Entrepreneur Magazine Facebook page, and it was the first of 6 episodes. And even the week before, when we were doing our, what they call a crowd produced meeting, they were still asking for input about how to shape the show. So you can still make changes to that show at the last minute in the final hour. So it's exciting to be a part of that.
Yeah, I can see how it works. I understand a little bit more now, because as I say, it doesn't actually cross the channel yet. And Roy has a question, and I'm going to promote Roy's question. Thank you for the question, Roy. And I'm going to try and read it as well. Are people looking for people who live stream for the same reasons that those same people look for bloggers? Or do they even look for bloggers? Is the live stream more than being a blogger? Do you want to go with that first, and I'll go?
Oh.
All right, okay. I think that there is an essential difference between live streaming and blogging. Blogging, I'm just going to take your question off, right, but we're comparing video streaming with blogging. And with a blog, it's a very passive existence. You write your blog on your own, you publish it on your own, you put it out there, you tweet about it, you post it on Facebook, and then you wait for a response. You don't get the response in real time. The response comes sometimes after. And these days, if you put a blog out, you're not guaranteed to get a response. I think the power of blogging is, I'm not going to say on the wane, but it's very difficult these days to actually get people to comment on a blog. You can get people to visit a blog, you get people to like a blog. I'll give you, for instance, my partner Angelica is giving away a book. It's a new hardbound book, and she's got 5 copies to give away. And she posted the blog, and the blog said, I've got 5 copies of this book, and the whole blog was about the book and explaining, you know, why people would want it, and how, if you were learning German, it's ideal. And in the first 3 days after the blog went live, nobody, and the only thing you had to do was to place 1 comment and you could win the book. Nobody commented. Nobody wanted the book, so it seems. And now we're again towards 10 people have commented, so it means that 5 people will get the book. But I think that the blogging response has slowed down. Video streaming, on the other hand, is where we are highly interactive, where we can see a comment that's made while we're broadcasting, and we can feature that comment on the screen, and we can respond to it, we can answer questions. And I think the live experience, where people interact with each other just in real time, is the way things are going. That's my 2 cents.
So I guess, look, because his questions, you know, sometimes they're this big. So I think what he's asking is, like, if I were a blogger looking for a guest blogger, would I do so in the same way that I would look for a guest host on my show? And since I never really truly blogged, I don't know the answer to that. For me, it was connecting with other pages, people with other pages where there was an overlap in what we were doing. If their message had overlap with mine, I would say, hey, come write a guest blog for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And on live streaming? Is your approach the same, or?
Yeah, and I think that's, now that we have the live contributor ability on our pages, I think there's some limitations with how that works, and I haven't really dove into it yet.
No.
So I think what you're going to find is people are assigning admin rights to other live streamers so that they can go live on your page. But you're the techie guy, so you probably know more about that than I do.
Well, the situation is that you have the difference between desktop and mobile. If you're on the desktop, you can make somebody an editor, which means they don't have admin rights. They can't delete all your page, but they can post on your page. So if you want somebody to broadcast on your behalf to your business page, then you just make them an editor. And that means that they can then broadcast and bring video onto your page without you being involved. The other thing it means is that if they want you to produce the show, in other words, you don't appear, but they do, and they don't have to worry about everything we're doing at the moment, then you can do that as well. So it opens up a whole new area because you can produce shows for other people, especially with the Be Live talk show, which we're on at the moment.
So what does the live contributor access?
That appears only on the mobile, doesn't it?
Okay.
I think
so.
I'm willing to be wrong because things move so quick, don't they? It's so difficult to keep up with the changes in Facebook, the changes on Periscope, changes on Twitter, changes on YouTube. Oh.
Yes.
All we can do is keep up with what we like, and we love Be Live. So shout out to BeLive.tv.
Yay!
And Didar's made a comment that fits in with that. And Didar, nice to have you watching us today. And it's a great opportunity via BeLive.tv to Facebook, and it just simply works. I enjoyed your live videos earlier in the day, Didar. And we're joined by Jackie. Hello, Jackie. Now, Jackie's question. I think you have to do lots of things. You've got to repurpose your live. Oh, my glasses are gone. Forgive me a minute. You've got to repurpose your blog to your live stream. Yeah. Okay. Now, I agree with Jackie on that, having read it. In that, doing a live video is not the end of it. You mentioned earlier about putting tags in there so people can find it afterwards. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But also what you can do, there are two things you can do. After the event, three things. After the event, you can upload the video to YouTube, which we both do, don't we? Yeah. You with net friending.
I need to remember to do that, yes. Right,
okay. I know cheat. I use an app called repurpose.io from Animura, and that 2 clicks and your Facebook video is on YouTube. So, but the other thing you can do, put it on YouTube. You can also put it in your blog because Facebook allows you to embed, and you could write a small paragraph about the show and then embed the blog, and that enables you to get greater airspace for it because you're actually promoting Facebook, and Facebook are all in favor of that. Mm-hmm. So you can embed it in your blog and you can release that blog afterwards. The other thing I discovered is, this is a tip that came in Belivers, and I've forgotten the gentleman's name, but he always posts in Spanish. And then we have to translate it, and then we answer in English, and he replies in Spanish. And this is the Belivers group. You'll find it on Facebook if you just Google it. Look for it on Facebook. But he suggested this, which is a neat trick. Quarter of an hour before you due to go live, you write a blog. And in that blog, you embed the video that's going live in 15 minutes. Yeah? Mm-hmm. You then post that blog 5 minutes before you're due to go live, and people can watch you live on your webpage. And we did this the other day, and the quality is brilliant. It's worth doing in terms of getting people outside to watch and to promote your blog and your video. Right, anyway, we had comments coming from that. And Cheryl's correcting me. You can't put a dot in the hashtag. Mm-mm. So, okay, I'll put VLive.
But you can do what I do, and when you say April 2.0, as I like to do. You could put POINT, spell out the word point instead of putting a dot.
Wow, I'll try that. And thank you, Dido, for watching today. And Jackie likes that, so that's good.
If there's anybody who would like to join us and tell us how you find people to interview or how you find other live stream shows, I would love to hear about it. I'm sure Stephen would too.
Indeed, I would. If anybody wants to join us. Indeed, I would. If anybody wants to join us. Sorry.
You do a lot more shows than I do by far. So where do you find people to interview? And why aren't you sharing them with me?
That's a good question. The first thing, like yourself, I always try to do a show with a co-host. So my co-host and I can actually find. So I co-host with David and Leland and Peter and John and Stephen. It's just rhyming names off, but the names we all know because they've all got their own shows as well. Right, my main way of finding people to interview, just to bring up Jackie again and to chat with, is Jackie and I have known each other for the last 12 years because we were on a UK networking site called Academy. And when that closed down, I started a networking group on Facebook. And that Facebook group has now got about 450 members. And we've all been together for the last 7 or 8 years. So if I'm looking for somebody to interview, that's my first port of call. Then the second port of call is, like yourself, if I see somebody interesting and it sort of gels with what I'm thinking, then I'll get asked. Sometimes you've got to ask in fear of getting rejected. Yeah? Because what you're feeling might not be reciprocated. Well, I reached out about 6 weeks ago, and I thought, I'm never going to get a chance to speak to her, but I will. So I reached out to Hoda Malaya, who's on BeLive.tv and has got her own channel on YouTube. And when she broadcasts, about roughly 30,000 people watch. So I thought, but I'll try. So we did spend a very enjoyable 45 minutes together. So to answer your question, from people I know and totally at random, as the mood takes me. If I see a new piece of software and the software is interesting, then I'll interview the person who wrote the software. Yeah, I think it's serendipity plays a large part, don't you think? That it's people you come across by accident. Have you? Yes, no, maybe.
For me, it's not an accident because I know these people are meant to be in my life. I kind of wait for them. In so many circumstances, they appear when they're supposed to in my life. Like Mario Armstrong literally jumped into my live stream 90 minutes in, and he was not scheduled to be a guest on my live show. I was just shouting him from the rooftops and shouting out his show, and his team knew about it, and 90 minutes in, they're like, you got to come in. They're talking about you, and they want you to hop into a seat. Yeah. And the show went on for 3 hours because he invested 90 more minutes with us. And that was not scheduled to happen, but it did, because I feel like that's going to serve him and his vision and showing other people how real life happens and that it's not always planned.
We'd like to welcome Roy to the show. Hello, Roy.
Hey, Stephen.
Hi.
Hey, April. Hi. So this is what it looks like when you're audio only and you're the voice of something. Okay. So, blank screen. My name will pop across the top, which is hot. I love that. So, guys, talking about finding people, right? So all three of us have some sort of backstory with how we found each other. And that's because there was this thing called Blab, which was similar to this. And what's missing here is a page or a home page where people can see who's got a show on right now. And that's what's missing here, even though we can probably somehow, I mean, if you're somewhat familiar with how Google works in light of Facebook, you can go, is live now, in quotes, and look it up and find people randomly. But who knows how to do that? So I think that whether BeLive.tv does this or not, or whether we do something, and Stephen, you said the other day when I mentioned the people search engine idea that I've had for some time now, and April's helping me to work on that, and you said, that's a great idea, and I'd love to work on that with you. You know, that's really what we need. We need a central watering hole where people can be seen when they go live, but it has to be as automated as possible, because nobody wants to have to, you know, go to 4 or 5 different places and post your video so that you can get some watchers. And that's what we're all doing right now, right? We're all going to the Facebook groups and we're saying, hey, I'm going to be live in 11 minutes, or I'll be live tomorrow. And we did it here and we have 10 people. But some of the shows on Blab had 200, 400, 500 people. So I think that's what's missing, is a central watering hole where we can all see what show is on. We come into the show, we jump into the seat like I just did. We get to know the host and some of the guests, and then it just builds from there. So people don't know how to look for people. People barely know how to search. Guys, what do you think?
True. What would you search for? You know?
Yeah, I mean, if you search for live video on Facebook, it gets you nowhere. If you go to the live map of people broadcasting live on Facebook, that gets you nowhere. You get totally lost. And you're watching somebody playing a harp up in Wales and you didn't want to, and then you find you're procrastinating, and you can watch a whole host of things, and you can surf videos forever. Yeah. But if you want to watch something purposeful, then you're right, Roy. There is no way to find out. There simply is no way to find out.
Even in the BeLivers group, when they ask you to post your shows, people just throw the link in there and they're done. They're not even giving you any introduction or anything to chew on. So how do I know I'm going to be interested enough to click on the schedule reminder feature?
Yeah, I mean, that helps a lot if people do know what you're going to talk about, but you've got to include the topic in the show, because otherwise people have no idea. I mean, you might be talking about flying to the moon. You've got to be the reminder says when. BeLive TV is telling you where, and you've got to say the what. And April's right. If you don't say the what, you're losing, because people are interested. I think we're all say people are interested in people, but they're all also interested in topics.
And even more important than the what is the why. I want to know why you're doing what you're doing.
Oh, amen to that. Yes.
I may not be interested in your content, but I may be interested in the why behind the content provider.
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
And that's where the idea of having a blog comes in, because if you do write the blog for the future show, then you can put a link to it along with the time to post. And if people want to know more, click this link, and that takes you out to a blog which describes everything. Do you think that would work? I'm asking for opinions here, not.
Yes, but again, like to Roy's point, everything is scattered everywhere. And so at the end of the day, people still have to hunt and peck to find. I'm home every Friday night and Saturday night because that's where I am. And I'm always looking to connect with people because I'm somewhat of an extrovert. So I get my energy from others, and other people recharge my batteries. And I'll be sitting here just going, there's no live streams in my news feed, but I really want to watch one. And I have no idea where to go look.
It's a lot like herding cats.
Yes.
And that's the problem right now. So we're in its infancy. So my question earlier, Stephen and April, and anyone else, come on, jump in and join the conversation, is this. So we don't remember it because we're not that old, but we do remember at one time there were only movies without sound. They called them silent movies, silent pictures. And then all of a sudden we got the talkies. And so the transition between the silent picture stars and, actors and actresses, a lot of them did make the transition to the talkies because either they had high-pitched voices or they couldn't, share the lines right. So it put a whole new breed of actors and actresses in the talkies, if you will, the talking movies. I think that's what's happening here. A lot of people who write well, who blog, may not be good at live streaming and expressing themselves in voice. Now, I know April for well over a year now, and she loves to write. I think if she were given the choice to answer in writing or talking, she would prefer to write it out because she's better that way. But she's also great at just ad-libbing and unscripted, and I love that, right? So she's got both of these avenues covered, but a lot of people don't, or they fear this. So my question earlier was, why aren't people setting up like a TV guide for bloggers? And why do people want to set up a TV guide for live streamers now? I hear that a lot, right? So what's the difference? I mean, why do we want a guide for people who talk and not people who write? I mean, what's the mentality there, and how will that help us to put together this awesome, TV guide for live streamers?
No TV guide for bloggers? Really?
You know of any? I mean, every now and then I see people put like, these are the top 50 bloggers that I like or something like that. But it's not like a TV guide where you can go every day and go and see who's doing what. Here's a show.
Well, here's the other thing, Roy. There's people like, I don't know, me, who kind of just go with the flow, or as you say, flow with the go, where I don't have a scheduled show right now. Yes, this is live, and my phone is ringing.
It is live.
And nobody ever calls me. It's just somebody who said my bills are late or something. 4 rings and it's done.
Do you like?
Yeah. I mean, I run a group, and in the group, I started a spreadsheet last week, and the spreadsheet was Monday through Sunday, and people can go into the spreadsheet and they can put their shows in, and you can go into the spreadsheet as a viewer, and you can see which shows are on each day. And at Eileen's suggestion, I actually added the ability to put your replays in as well. And I think there are 2 sides to this. One is that people seem to be reluctant to enter the details on a spreadsheet. And the second thing is, with people who actually do create the shows, do check the spreadsheet. People who just view don't check the spreadsheet. So I think if you create the resource, then you've got to really push it. Not only, I mean, in order to get it working, you've got to publicize it. Otherwise, nothing happens. That's dead air. Roy.
Well, going to what we were talking about before we came on live was Tina Shang had created a Facebook page, which again, and they're all being called somewhat the same thing. So I think it was TV Live Guide, and then she also created a group so that they kind of link up, but she's asking for people to fill out a form, and I was going to fill one out, and it's what I said before the phone started ringing, was that I don't have a scheduled show. So I just want to be able to, like, if somebody is, like, you reached out to me to be here with you today for this show,
yeah.
I wouldn't know that as I'm filling out a form until it actually happens. and it's a one-time deal for me. I can't give her it's every Monday at this time with this person sort of a thing.
Yeah, because the shows don't happen like that, which is why you need, I think you've got to put a slot in there which says today's shows. And because people, the other thing about it is that people want to know what's happening today. They're not as much concerned with what's happening in 5 days' time.
Yes.
Could you and Roy just carry the show for a couple of minutes? April knows what I've got to go and do now. And we're back in a minute.
Yes. Awesome. It's all about the roast, isn't it, Stephen? So, yeah, there's no, we need a central watering hole, period.
Yes, we do. We do.
Because I'm seeing more and more that people are wanting to put something together in the form of a guide. But when 10 and 20 and 30 people do it, it kind of defeats the purpose of doing it. Because now we have to search in 10 to 30 different places to find a show. And then even then, it's just a bunch of links. There's no structure built around it. We don't know anything about the content providers. We don't know their front story. So it's just hunt and peck.
Here's the thing, that I've been around long enough to understand that, in the very early days of the internet, back in the early 90s, we had 24 search engines. Can you imagine the internet today with 24 search engines? No, we can't. Mm-mm. Because we only use one. Now, for the people that are here live, who here never uses Google? Just say me.
That's a good question.
Right? And who here never uses Facebook? Just say me. Okay, everybody's on Facebook, so you can't say me. So here's what's happened, okay? So Google was before Facebook, and Google did search right. So they were the undisputed king. And then they went into social. So how many of you remember Orkut? Orkut was a Facebook-type environment. It was big in Brazil. It was big in India, but it sucked in the United States and elsewhere. It was only big in Brazil and India. Now, Google has been attempting to do social for many years. And I thought they'd get it right, but nah. So Google does search right, and they're the king. They do it better than Facebook. But Facebook does social right, and they do it better than Google. The problem is the Mark and the boys over at Google, they, in the beginning, attempted to play nice in the same sandbox. And they were doing okay for a while until Marky said, I'm out of here. I'm taking all my toys and I'm out of here. And you can't index my stuff. Or at least not all of it. Some of it. Neener. So, Facebook sucks at search and Google sucks at social. So we need a bridge. How do we find the right people for us? And so just having a search engine and having anybody jump into it, it's still a mess. Again, it's still like herding cats. So we have to start with one particular topic, right? If somebody can get that right, and then we can go from there, go an inch wide and a mile deep. So this has been my idea for many years. Technology hasn't been here. The mindset of most people hasn't been here. But I think a people search engine for live streamers is now ready for prime time, especially since everybody has the ability to do what we're doing here. Push a button and boom, essentially you have a TV show. You can do whatever you want. You can entertain us. You can talk to us. You can bring on guests. You can show us something new. It's just amazing. So what is it that we want in the search engine, and how do we search for that? So I have an idea. I want to get together with a few of us and, put live streamers together, but we have to have something in common. So right now people seem to be finding BeLive.tv. This is an amazing platform. Look at all the cool things we can do. Stephen just put on the screen, finding people who live stream. So if we all put our heads together and say, okay, we're just going to find live streamers anywhere from A to Z and everything in between. But the only thing we have in common is that we all live stream. So what could we possibly talk about? Live streaming, right? So we can help each other to learn that if I do this, that happens. And that's positive and productive. So maybe we can have a central show where all the live streaming hosts and guest hosts come and share their experiences with people who want to learn, like a cheat sheet, like a Facebook Live cheat sheet. Stephen, you've done something like that or not yet? Put together something to help people, yes?
Right. I've got the live shows, and there are 6 of those a week. But I've also, with a friend, Fraser Hay, written a book, which is out on Amazon, and I've created courses on Udemy and SmileTime, all about live streaming. And that's because I enjoy it so much. And since the days of Blab, where we're all connected, I've got really involved in it, and I want to pass that knowledge on because it's not impossible to do. In fact, there's some who say you should just do it, but we have to persuade people to go live streaming. You think?
Yeah, and Ross Brand is doing a wonderful job every day, shouting out those people who are going to have a show that day, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it doesn't scale. He can't possibly do all the shows that are eventually going to be on, so he has to pick them. And that's another one of my points is that whoever puts together a TV guide, they at least have to say, oh, these are my featured shows. These are the ones that I recommend to you so that people don't have to go eeny, meeny, miny, mo when they don't know anybody yet. So if you're interested in topic this, then here's the person to look to because they know the top 10, the top 100 shows in their genre, and here's why. You understand what I'm saying? It's kind of like what Ross Brand is doing, but his genre is, the topics are all over the place, right? So these are just the people that he's befriended and who found him and are saying, hey, shout me out, Ross. But do you see what I'm trying to say here? April, what are your thoughts on something like what Ross is doing? I mean, it's great, but, we need something in every genre, don't we?
I'm going to use, to complement what you just said, an example of something I shared with somebody I just met yesterday. Haven't officially met her, but we met in text, and I can't wait to meet her in live stream. But another special needs mom, so we have that in common. Woo-hoo! And I got excited. I know she's excited about meeting me because we have something in common, and because she sees me doing live streaming, and she knows that my advocacy efforts are with special needs parents. And she has a business, a brick and mortar. Her and her husband own a gluten-free restaurant. And I said, oh, you need to bring one of those to my area. And she said, yeah, I get that a lot. A lot of people say, I wish that you had a restaurant where I live. And I said to her, I said, you need an online course, and then you need a live stream show, and you need to be able to share your knowledge with other people in mass, but where it scales, so that you can pass on your knowledge so that these other people can open up restaurants in their area if that's where their passion is. And they can keep moving outward. They can share their knowledge with other people and have them go do what you're doing so that you don't have to go to 50 states and open up a restaurant in each state. And it's the same thing with this. It's sharing your knowledge so that other people can take that knowledge within their niche and duplicate it. It scales that way because no one person can do everything by themselves. Right?
That's very true. We try, but we're never going to succeed. And it takes a team, doesn't it? As Roy was saying earlier.
Exactly. None of us are as smart as all of us. And like you just said, Stephen, team, the acronym for team is together, everyone achieves more. So the more we can all band together, again, it's herding cats. If someone needs to say, hey, I'm going to be the watering hole for blank. And this is my genre, an inch wide to a mile deep. Like, for example, let me just shout out April right now, because Stephen, you and I, when we met April over at Blab, she wasn't going by April Roga. She was going by April and then Bursting with Autism, because she had a cause. She wanted to be known as mama of an autistic nonverbal son. And a lot of people, even after she, not got rid of Bursting with Autism, but just didn't brand herself that way anymore, because she really didn't know what she didn't know, and she didn't have a point B. So now her point B is a little bit different, but people still remember that brand. They're still calling her Bursting with Autism. Hey, look, there's Bursting with Autism. So the point is go an inch wide and a mile deep. So if April can be like the team leader, the tribe leader for all of these special needs parents, autism, and all the other special needs parents. But what we want to do, what April wants to do, what we who are live streaming want to do, it's not about resources as far as where do I go to get help for my son for this thing or that thing or whatever, but it's social. This is social media. And now with live streaming and Facebook going live stream, 2 billion people can live stream every single day about their favorite topic, their favorite genre. And it's not about so much getting out resources of things as it is giving out resources who are people.
I'm working here to try. Right. Okay. Now, you talked about billions of people actually coming in. And for the moment, I just want to rotate for a moment, as it were, and bring in Ali and just take his views on finding people who live stream. So if you forgive me for a moment, it's only for a moment, April. Hello, Ali. Nice to see you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you?
Oh, good. We can hear you.
Yeah,
now,
yeah, I can. Hello?
Right. Hello, yes, we can hear you. We're talking about finding people who live stream. Are you new to live stream?
I want to say that there is propagation delay. Sorry for that. There is propagation delay.
All right, we've got a right. Okay, so we've got a delay on the channel. Well, Ali, it's great to see you here today, and I look forward to catching up later in the week. Do you have any comments about finding people who live stream? Right. Okay. It's difficult at the moment to do this, so forgive me for this. I'll see you later.
It's fine now. It's fine now, I think.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts about finding people to live stream, or are you new to live streaming? Right. I'll catch you later, Ali, and welcome back, April. I think it's very difficult when there's a delay. I mean, April and I were talking earlier, and we had the problem that my voice was echoing, it was tinny, it was all over the place. And if you don't have, if the sound's not right or there's a delay in the sound, it's very difficult for anybody who's actually watching. So, Ali, thank you for joining us. I think tonight technology defeated us. So back on topic, and we were talking about it does take a team, and you're building a team, Roy.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, here's the thing that I think that is not quite the default mindset of people, is that people want to promote themselves. And I get that, and you have to. Initially, you have to promote yourself. The way April got on my radar was she was in the audience one time with comments, and she said, at Roy Montero, I think we were separated at birth. That caught my attention. We did a meet and greet, and the next thing we know, we're wanting to do something together as far as a project. That works, but it's difficult because not everybody likes to put themselves out there like that. But here's the thing. If you go look for other people who are live streaming and doing a great job, and you become a brand champion for them and you shout them out, you know, it's always doing for the other person, right? If you give, you will receive. So if we would all go around, the ones that us who love live streaming, and find other people who we love to watch and connect with, and then do a show and shout that out. Shout it out from our Facebook, from our blog, from everywhere, and then come together in one place and say, yeah, I'd like to recommend these 3, 4, 5 shows, blah, 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 and here's who they are, and this and that, put a link. I think that will work to get the pump primed, so to speak. April? And
I want, because there are people that are engaging in the chat, and my phone is off to the side, so I forget. But I'm curious, because for me, I know I would rather. I think this is the consensus. So I'm taking an actual survey right now. I would rather somebody shout me, champion me in my show, than for me to do it myself. And I find extreme pleasure in shouting other people out, and especially when I support what they're doing and I support them. When I have their backs, because I know who they are, I know they're go-givers, and I want to share them with the world. That brings me great joy in doing that. And so I'd rather see that happening than for us to shout ourselves out.
Yes, absolutely. Plus, that's the exact algorithm that Google uses for their search engine. See, if I have a web page and I put on there, Roy Montero was great, Roy Montero was great, Roy Montero was great, like 100 times, then Google won't rank me any higher than somebody who does that 99 times. But if there's 100 people out there who link to my page and say, Roy is great, Roy is great, Roy is great, now Google's going to pay attention. Same as us. If somebody knows April, and they like April just shouted out this new lady here who's a lot like her, right? And she really hasn't even met her yet. They haven't even said basically hi in voice to each other, but yet April's already shouting her from the rooftops because there's so much content to find about her. And now it's just bringing her onto one of her shows or doing a show together, and then it takes off from there. So I agree with April. It gives me so much pleasure and honor to just share somebody else's show with people, because then you get on the map. You get known as the Larry King of live streaming, or Oprah of live streaming, right? Because basically that's what they do, or Barbara Wawa. They just,
shout people.
By association, they shout other people out, and then people get to know them. They're household names. And what do they all do? They interview people. They shout other people out.
Indeed, that's very true. Right, now you may have wondered what April knows what I've been doing when I've been disappearing, and I know there's a situation where I do have to bring this show to a close. So, on behalf of April and I, we'd like to say thank you to everybody who's watched today. We hope you found it of interest. Roy, thank you for joining us. It's been great.
My pleasure. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, April.
It's been a brilliant get-together. I've no doubt we will do more in the future. And I want to say take care, everybody. And do you want to say good day as well, April?
Good day, everybody.
I didn't mean it literally.
You mean, do I have any closing thoughts? Oh gosh, it's coming. Live streaming is where it's at, and Facebook is not messing around. They are doing some serious updates, and now is the time that we really need to figure out this whole discovery feature, because the first person who does that wins the golden egg. You heard it here. You heard it here first. For me.
As long as it's not the rotten egg, I'm in.
Okay.
All right. Well, yeah. And I'm looking forward to being part of the team with Roy and April that improves the situation as far as discoverability is concerned. I can't say the word now. And I look forward to seeing you all again. So it's goodbye from all of us, and we'll catch you all later. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Stephen.
Bye all.
Thank you.